Hello, and welcome back to my last CCI video submission. This project is a data analysis and visualization project with shipping data, the same shipping data that I used for my other one, just the historical this time. Part of the thinking for this project was really how, many ways can you visualize the same piece of data, and using code to creatively inspire people to make their own data or find other ways to make the data interesting. After gathering the data and putting in a Excel spreadsheet, well, just opening it in a spreadsheet, I decided to go really easy, start simple, and open and create some line graphs based on the data. And so I had 4 separate ships of different lengths of data, and I liked how they looked. I had the longitude and latitude plotted separately, and as I looked at them, I started to kind of see a similarity between data and sound waves and things like that. And so my first thought was to interpret them as sound waves and maybe make some music out of them, but then I decided that would be too hard, and also it's not something that I've experimented with coding before. I've never coded any sound or sound manipulation, so I shelved that and pretty much shelved the whole project for about a week, all the while still keeping my mind on idea mode, and so it wasn't until I watched a video by 3 Blue 1 Brown, and then subsequently watched like 3 more about Fourier cycles, Fourier epicycles and Fourier series, and when he started to mention about simple waves being able to be multiplied together to create a complex wave, it instantly made me think about the graphs that I already had created. And when I saw the same technique used to draw complex patterns, I knew that that was something that I wanted to try. And so this is when I started going down a rabbit hole, a mathsy rabbit hole that I still don't really understand, and decided that this is kind of the direction I wanted to take the project in. Sticking to the theme of making things accessible for children and things like that, I decided to make a little animation on basically how I understand Fourier epicycles, and the way I was thinking about it as I was creating the project. So here you go. A sine wave could be shown like this, where there is motion in both the x and y. When a circle revolves around the circumference of another, we call it an epicircle. A good example of this is a solar system, where the moon revolves around the Earth, while the Earth revolves around the sun. When a chain of circles revolve around each other, you get a Fourier epicycle. This might look familiar to some of you. For me, it reminds me of spirographs, which are essentially the same concept, just this is with much more circles, or gears. If we were to straighten the path of these circles out, we would see a sine wave where the line goes up and down. I realized that this was quite a large task to be taking on, and so I broke it down into steps. The first one being changing the longitude and latitude data into Cartesian x and y coordinates, and then I had to determine the time period at which I were to the time period of the data, and then because it's supposed to be a loop, it's supposed to be continuous, and there wasn't a continuous loop in the data, because the ship didn't do a circle, I mirrored the data so that it would go up and then go back down. And so this is reflected in the outcomes, as the data is kind of mirrored from around the circle from the bottom and the top. The next step was to break the data down into its harmonics, so into its separate circles, and then determine the velocity of each circle. And then string all of the circles together in their order in an array, which was pretty tricky too. And then the last thing I had to do was plot the pattern of from the last circle, which took me so long to figure out. In the end, I just decided to draw a single point at every frame of where the last circle was, and that was the closest I could get to what I wanted. I think if I had an extra, I don't know, 2-3 days to work on the project, I could probably get a line. If I've done points, a line isn't that much harder. It's just an array of points. Array of a line is, yeah. But anyway, that was just too much, and so I stopped there. Here I've got various and there you go. Here are the epicycles of a few ships that I had in my data. The more complex the pattern, the larger the data was that I had to display. And yeah, I found it really interesting. There's one that had only 2 pieces of data, had like one circle, maybe 2, and it just its orbit was just slightly off to the side, which is just like a normal sine wave, which I thought was quite interesting. Going back to displaying this data for the masses, for children, I thought it'd be quite interesting to, if I were to develop this project further, to give an easy way for people to do this at home with their own data and actually turn it into a spirograph, and do the. I mean, it's too complicated, but I feel like there is a way to at least simplify things down, and so you could just have a little pen and scribble it out. Yeah, I don't know. If anybody has any investment capital, I don't fucking know. This is the end of the presentation. I hope you enjoyed. This one's been a real rush, but nonetheless, it's been a really fun project, and thank you for the year. Catch you later.